You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the February 10th meeting of the Michigan City Port Authority Commission. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Welcome to the Michigan City Port Authority Board of Directors meeting. I call the meeting to order and look for approval or correction of the January 27, 25 meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from January 27, 2025.
Do you have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now, any comments from the public? Go ahead, state your name, sir.
My name is Scott Kenyon. I'm the president of South Shore Sailing School right here next door to the Port Authority office. Came for a couple of reasons. One is just to say thank you to the Port Authority for your many years of support for our school, both from the employees and from this board. The bottom line is we can't do what we do without your support, and you guys have been very generous to us over the years, so we appreciate that very much and hope that continues for many more years. The second reason is, and I don't think this will come to any surprise to you, we're watching the activity with the pending sale of the Yacht Club building pretty closely. There's obviously some land lease agreements around that, the land that's owned by the Port Authority. Specifically, we're most interested in what's happening with the pavilion. This is another board member, by the way, from the Sailing School, Lynn Duttlinger.
I got the bridges out.
Yeah. So we're watching that pretty closely. That's our home base, where our operations are at. Our relationship and interest in the pavilion has been many years. It's pretty important to us. Probably more important now than it ever has been. As many of you have probably seen the last few years, we're making a lot of investments to improve the quality of our school, but also increase the number of students we put through the program in a year. And also do a lot of our community outreach and engagement. So in the last few years, we've developed a new partnership with the Michigan City school system. We actually have a dedicated class now for elementary and middle school students. We give the schools a pretty healthy discount on our enrollment rates. They go find Title IV dollars to cover the balance. They actually bus kids to and from the school every day. Really unique, interesting partnership that we have there. This year we're setting off to do a new partnership with the Sea Scouts as well. So the bottom line is we're getting more integrated with the community itself. So the thought of the relationships changing on the pavilion where we do our business obviously is a concern for us. So the couple of asks we would make for this board is just consideration in those conversations as they progress. I know there's a lot of activity on that front now. And hopefully there'll be a time and a place for us to talk a little bit more about that. We would also ask maybe to have a seat at the table at some point as those conversations continue to evolve. So bottom line is we are happy where we're at. We hope we can continue to be there. We don't really have a plan B at this point. And again, we'd just be asking for this board's consideration about our needs in the future. So do you have anything you'd like to add to that, Lynn?
No, we just, feel we've had a great relationship with you guys and really want to continue that. So appreciate all you do for us currently and just hope we continue to have a home and keep our relationship on a real positive note with you. Thank you so much.
All right, any other comments from the public? Great.
Good evening, my name is Victor Terry. I'm the owner of Harbor Country Adventures. For anybody who doesn't know, I have a tour boat down there that you're gracious enough to rent me space to keep it. And I came here tonight to talk about parking. And not parking in the parking lot, parking on the water. So I see everybody out and about all summer long, moving about, and I see some of you at the concerts I do and out here on the dock. And the two things I want to talk about is signage. Signage for the wall going from the Coast Guard all the way to the corner before you make the turn to the channel. All summer long, I think Tim, who sees me and listens to my bitching the most, there's no there's nothing out there to identify what that area is for. And I understand it's used for a lot of different things depending on who's there. There's always people fishing there, and there always has been people fishing there. But there are also people putting their boats there that come, whether it's to come to places like Fish Camp or Maybes, or just to come ashore, or to spend the night. But there's nothing out there that clearly designates that space for whatever the intended purpose is. And I can tell you by being out there every single day, all summer long, there's no less than at least several times a week that there's arguments, fights going on, people cussing at each other, and it's because there's nothing to tell people what it's for. You know, I don't know if it's in the right order, but in my mind, I'm pretty sure the wall's for boat docking. And if there was something up there to let people know that's there, well then if I come down to fish, I shouldn't be surprised when I see somebody pulling up with a boat. And it doesn't tell me that I can't fish, but I probably need to pull up my line and move down to the next area where there isn't a boat coming in. But there's nothing out there that tells anybody, not that it's a right of way, but that anything's going on there. What it's for, fishermen think they have eminent domain over it, the boaters, especially because a lot of the boaters we get are coming from areas, whether it's Portage, Hampton, Chicago. They don't know. All of a sudden there's just somebody out there screaming and cussing at them and their family because he's out there trying to fish. I'm pretty sure that you guys also have it in your charter or whatever you call it, that people that are coming for transient slips, there's a fee schedule, if I'm not mistaken, that people are supposed to be paying. I can also tell you this, from somebody who's there all summer long, every single day, there's a lot of people that are skirting that because they're coming in at night when I don't expect the Port Authority to staff the office 24/7. And if they're tying up, they're not paying those fees because even if they wanted to, there's nothing out there to tell you where to go pay those fees or what that schedules of fees are or how they're supposed to be paid or if you have to pay it. But not all, but there's a good amount of them that, you know, they come, they use our services, but they don't do anything except cause chaos or put trash all over the place. You know, if you ask the park district, if you ask the young men that work in the summertime for the Port Authority, you know, I police everything up from my boat all the way to that bridge. If those garbage cans are full, we're emptying them. I'm not sitting there looking at them during the day, you know. It doesn't look nice to the visitors that we have coming. When we do events in the plaza, that garbage is empty when we go home at the end of the night. But then you have people on boats that are spending the night, they're not paying anything, and the next morning they're just chucking garbage all over our dock. Which leads me to my my next thing that I would like to talk about. So if you're not aware, I do a summer concert series in the plaza. It's called Live at the Lakefront. And we do concerts every Friday and Saturday night. The problem, and it hasn't been a problem until towards the end of last season, because people come and bring their boats along the wall and park during the concerts. So basically you're attending a concert for free, which I don't have a problem with. There's people that sit all around a parking lot for free. We're in very weird economic times right now. Some people are making a choice between eating and paying for their meds that they need. So if you can't afford to come to my concert, but you want to sit up top in a lawn chair, by all means, you're not hurting me at all. Please, but you can't come and cause a problem. So whether it's people coming in their boats and turning up the music while the show's going on, or the trash, or whatever, it's just a problem. And once again, they should be paying for that right. And so what I'm here to talk about is, I met with a company, the company's called Air Park. They do not do any marinas or any transient slips, but they do every single parking lot from the state line of Michigan all the way up to Mackinac, every municipality, whether it's South Haven, Grand Haven, Saugatuck, New Buffalo, St. Joe, all those parking lots that the cities own and are under their control, that's who manages them. And so I asked them to come out this past week, and look at the wall in front of the Amita, which would be from the corner to the bridge. And I said, do you think that your system would work for that? He's like, our system won't work for anything. And so my thought is, I would like to put some signage here so that people that come to park, just in that, and you know, if it's something you're interested in, consider it a test case for you guys. Because I am there, I can monitor it and make sure everything's going along smooth, if there's no miscommunication, but They just simply come out, they put the signs up, it's got a QR code. If you, however many boats, and obviously it would change as opposed to a parking lot, because depending on the size of the boat, maybe you can get 7 20-footers on there, but if there's 3 50-footers, you might only get 1 30-foot. So that would always change. And to come up with a proposal to do hourly parking on that wall. And it's simply signs with a QR code, they open their phone, they scan it, pay for their however many hours they're gonna be there, and their boat's parked. And then, I'm not looking, this all that revenue is for you guys. They do a 50-50 split. They incur all the cost, all the software, the signage, everything. And the rest of the, your half of the revenue goes to you guys. And maybe if it's something in a small test case on that area of the wall that works, maybe that's a way for you guys to address the rest of the wall. For people that are coming in overnight that are parking, that aren't paying, because unless you tell me different, I would be mind-boggled if there's anybody walking all the way up here to pay to keep their boats on that wall, any of the walls overnight, because they don't even know. Yes, ma'am?
They do it all by telephone.
Oh, is that how it's, okay, I stand corrected, I didn't know.
I'm not gonna say every single one of them, but most of them, we do it all by phone, they pay ahead.
Because I mean, I can tell you all summer long, there's at least 2 to 3 boats on that side facing the DNR that are always there. Not the same boats, but there's always somebody there staying overnight. And a lot of times I'll see them come in later in the evening, but I know what your guys' hours are, and there's nobody here at 6 o'clock. So I don't know if you're saying there's a system in place to do that, then maybe they are calling and doing it on the phone. I didn't know that.
I'm not gonna say that we get every single one of them, but we do get our share of them, especially the bigger boats.
I'm just, and once again, I'm not here to ask, I'm just putting it, I'm trying to figure out how to make what I'm doing down there, it's working, but how to make it smoother, especially for my employees, because not that I don't pay them good, but I don't pay them enough to be harassed or cussed at or have things thrown at them because some guy wants to put his boat on the wall and doesn't want to turn the stereo down because there's a concert going on, he doesn't like what that music is.
Yeah, Dick?
Yep.
Are you also kind of saying that you're having trouble getting your boats back and forth once they're gone?
No, nobody parks in our spot. I mean,
Okay.
I can't say it's never happened, but people know where the ammonia goes. They know where in the floating docks are there for the jet skis. No, nobody's parking on that. Though, if you're pulling up in the evening and you're just going to fish camp and you got a little 20-foot runabout, I tell people all the time, put them up against the floating docks, because they're too small to go up against the wall. It's the people coming that are just, we're gonna go over to meetings on Saturday night, and I'm having a concert, and then they come back, and they don't care about the concert, which is fine, I'm not asking you to buy a ticket for my concert, but at the same time, you can't be turning your stereo on, turning the music up, or I'm trying to host an event next to you, or you can't be drinking on the, we've only had one problem the whole time that I've been doing anything here, and it was with somebody who wasn't even at my event. Like, there's just, I love everything we have here. We have the best lakefront, bar none, on the lake. And I think there's a lot of people that are coming, especially I see more and more of it, and I'm guilty or whatever you want to say for bringing people here, because people are coming in for these concerts and stuff on the weekend, but they're not paying anything, and they're starting to cause a little bit of a problem. So I just thought, hey, if you want to come, then pay. I don't know of any marina, I don't think we really have any transient slips in the basin because we rent all of our stuff. But I can tell you, if you want to go to Buffalo, take a ride from here to there, or go to Straight Hog Eat, you're not parking anywhere without paying. You're not going across to Chicago. I'm not trying to compare us to Chicago, but I don't know of anywhere on this lakefront that you're going to go park and get off your boat and walk downtown that you're not paying to park that boat, except for us. And once again, apparently there's a system in place, but I don't think during the day people are utilizing that system. They're just going to come for 4 hours and go to Mady's or go to Shoreline, which is what we want. We want people to come here, but they're not. And it's not all of them, but they're not contributing anything. And I don't think it's a lot to ask. If you got a 50-foot yacht, you're coming across from Chicago, I think you guys charge $1 a foot. And all that gas, all that boat, and you're gonna spend the day here, yeah, you should be able to pay for your parking. We charge in the park, we charge everywhere else. I don't see why not on the water. And that, once again, that would help me, at least on the Fridays and Saturday part. And if not, I'm gonna figure it out. You know, we have been, but that would just go a long way towards making it easier, because then it's this, point at the sign. Just like they got the fishing signs down here. If there's a problem with the fishermen, you point at the sign, hey, it says right there, boat parking, boat mooring, whatever you wanna call it, transient slippage. So nobody's telling you can't fish, but this is the intended purpose, so just move on down where there's not a boat. And then it takes all the confusion out of everything. That's all I got.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Vic. Well, Scott Mullen, 200 Kendall Place, first time to Port Authority. I'm here to echo everything pretty much that Vic just said. I know you're familiar with him. I think he's done a great service, putting his services here in Michigan City the last, what is it, 6, 7 years? Wow. It's brought life to the basin, to the harbor, and he's absolutely right about transient parking and maybe some signage to eliminate conflicts. As you all know, the city has severe budgetary issues, and like Vic said, there's no free parking anywhere anymore. And you know, it's great that they call in from time to time, but with some modern signage and a QR code, you probably pick up some more money, even if it's a QR code to you guys without the third party. But some signage to eliminate conflicts between fishermen and boaters and set the rules of the road. I mean, unfortunately, the boaters with their stereos, you can't fix rude people. but clearly, a guy who's paying for the right to put on these concerts and so forth should have priority there and some help in controlling the crowds. And Vic, you might not know this, the last common council meeting, there was a citizen who came in, and not to complain, he's looking for a solution, but the way the speakers are set for those concerts are blasting into his, they're very much affecting his quality and enjoyment of his property. And he was just wondering if there was a different orientation you could do with the PA systems for the concerts. Just thought I'd throw that out there in case you hadn't heard it. But he was not negative at all. He was just like, hey, I'd like to be able to enjoy my place a little bit too.
Yeah, I'll talk to you when
Yeah, he was real nice.
Excuse me, sir, I was looking at something else when you introduced yourself and who you're representing. Could you say that one more time?
My name is Scott Melland, M-E-L-A-N-D, 200 Kendall Place, and I'm just a citizen.
Okay, thank you.
And again, just kind of echoing what he said, because it's all good common sense about getting control of the harbor. I mean, I'm not a boater, unfortunately. I'd love to go out anytime if anyone wants to show me anything. I've been on his boat. But it's my understanding that when you come into a harbor, you contact the harbor master. Isn't that generally how things are done in the boating world? To get permission to dock or be told where to go. Okay, and then like so many parking lots, civilian parking lots, say in St. Joe or a town up north in North Chicago, Evanston, you've got those parking meter police that look chalk line on your tire to see if you've moved in your parking meter time. So maybe we're not here after 6 o'clock in the office, but somebody in the morning could make note of boats that are docked that haven't made contact with you. You know, maybe put a post-it note on the boat, something like that. Something appropriate for the boating world. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Reports from the harbor master, Mr. Frame.
All right, we continue working on our winter projects. Currently, we've replaced the floor and we're going through the guard shack on the other side. Redoing some of the trim on the outside. We're planning on painting it when it warms up a little bit, and we'll probably be replacing the roof, it looks like. We've also been working on the buoys that we put out in the spring. Right now, we're building some new anchors for the buoys, and we've also been assembling some new grills for out here at the docks this summer. That's it as far as winter projects at the moment. You probably noticed on the way in, a barge from the King Company has showed up. That's to assist with working on the bridge. So I spoke with Marcus Electric this last week. Some of the repairs they're doing involve structural issues that you have to access from underneath the bridge. So they're using that barge as a work platform and to get up in there. They expect to have that finished by the middle of March. So that's all for now, unless anybody has any questions.
I had a comment to Tim and Mr. President. What Vic's been around a while. He's been a good customer. What he brings up, I think, is very interesting. I was wondering if we had heard that kind of stuff too much before, and whether we think maybe a get-together with staff to get a few more details from him and maybe work through that. I'd like to have a quick little discussion on that, whether we think that's worthwhile. I know we're working with the yacht club also, but those people were, Joe's doing a lot of talking back and forth and negotiating. They might not know too much about that, but that's gonna all wash out here and over the next month or so or whatever. And I wanted to address that. But also, I think Vic brings up some issues there that I wasn't too familiar with. And I think we ought to take a little harder look at some of that, on maybe a one-on-one with you guys with it. I'm just suggesting that.
Sounds like a plan. No, I'm on the same page. We've kind of talked a little bit about all of it, so we're on the same page. That
Okay.
this needs to be addressed and what we can do with the walkways and stuff like that during this concert. So that's, we did have a little discussion there, but
Okay.
as far as pricing and the wall, some of that, the wall would have to be addressed for people a little bit better if we're gonna charge. Because right now it's a little risky in some points, so.
It just seemed to be an issue that hadn't come before the board directly for a while, if ever, that I remember. And I just think maybe should be looked at a little deeper.
Yep, I don't disagree.
Isn't some of that wall regulated by the Coast Guard?
No.
No? Okay.
You have anything else for Ted? Good. All right.
Yes. When are you gonna dig that bed chap?
The one that's off the edge?
Yeah.
Well, next time you're out there, you'll see it's not there,
Oh,
unless somebody put it back, right?
okay. Right, it was not dragged over?
Right.
It was picked up and moved to the edge and then pushed over. You can see that.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting. That thing's gotta be 700-800 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
That was all.
Yep.
All right. Moving on, reports from the Assistant Harbor Master Administration, Ms. Blicky.
In the past, we have always offered 4 hours of free parking, but things change.
Right.
I think that's a good idea if they can do it with the QR code and that on their own. Our last billing is going out this week. Should all be in the mail this week, and that's all that I have right now.
All right. Mr. Ferguson, budget, financial oversight, and review approval of the bills.
Not many bills to review and approve, so we can go through this quickly. You can see the front page incorporates just 5 major concerns. The credit card, the sponsorship of the Hoosier Coho Club, security, NIPSCO, and some landscaping for, among other things, winter salting, etc. And there's just another $2,282 extra small bills on the second page, as you can look at to your satisfaction. So all that totals $19,205.66. And with that, I'll make a motion that we approve the bills as stated.
And I'll second the motion.
Questions?
Any questions? All good? All in favor of paying the bills?
Aye.
Moving on. You have anything else, Mr. Ferguson?
No, I do.
All right. Well, pretty much port operations is winter mode, so we're getting ready to have more activity. We'll be starting pretty soon to get your hires for the summer. We get a pretty good list of returnees, I understand, so that's a good thing. Having people come back year after year now is kind of a nice plus, so you don't have to overtrain people. So as far as port operations, that's all I have going on. Mr. Messina is out today. Mr. Manager, Master Planning Special Projects and Park and Liaison.
I have nothing for master planning or special projects. I attended the park board meeting on Wednesday night, and there was nothing there that applies to us, so I don't have a report to make on that.
All right, advertising and public relations, Mr. Cypress.
Nothing to report. I'll just comment on Vic's suggestions for the wall and that down there. I think he's 100% on. I know we'll talk about it more coming up, but some signage that basically states what it's designated for to alleviate conflicts and things like that, I think would probably do a lot of people good. You know, whether it's fishermen or boaters or whatever the case, there'd be just a better general understanding of what's going on down there. So that's just my comment on that, and I know we'll talk about it more, so that's all I got.
All right. All right, the attorney report, Mr. Zachlin.
I work with staff and we put together the bid package for Base Camp, which will go out probably tomorrow, or the advertisement will probably be placed tomorrow or sometime this week. We anticipate having bids back by our March 3rd meeting, and we can open at that time. I have sent to the attorneys representing both the Holdings Group and the Michigan City Yacht Club the consent to assignment and assumption agreement that the board approved at our last meeting. And I have also sent to the Michigan City Yacht Club, who incidentally now has a new attorney, a proposed revised lease. Have not yet determined what would be an appropriate amount of rent to recommend. I reached out last week to Clarence Holtz at the Economic Development Commission. I sent an email to one of the administrators that works there. He said he would forward it along to Clarence. I'm hopeful that I'll hear from him this week, and perhaps he, myself, and maybe Mr. Frame can take him around the area that is going to be subject to the lease, and he can give us his opinion on what he thinks a fair market rental value would be. I'd send him the map, but it probably would be better to walk it and get an estimate from him. If we don't get an estimate from him, then perhaps we should take a look at, I don't know, maybe looking at the amount that the CPI calculation produced for us. Mm-hmm. And if we don't think that reflects a fair market rental value, we bump it up by some percentage that the board would feel comfortable with. But I'm hopeful that Mr. Holtz has some thoughts that he would share with us. And I believe that's all I have.
Mm-hmm. Sam?
Comment. I was thinking things would be moving along just a little bit faster. Obviously they are. Anything from our part, the Port Authority part, that's holding up working through this, because we'd all like to work through this without any major holdups, right?
Yeah, we are not holding up anything, though. With the yacht club changing attorneys, that seems to me that there's something going on at their end. Usually you don't change attorneys, but I don't know. That's just speculation on my part.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
Anybody from the yacht club have any comments you want to throw out on that?
We're not with the yacht club. The sailing school is actually separate from the yacht club.
We're comments out, what do we comment on?
Gotcha.
I think that we.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Anything, nothing else? You're good?
That's all I have.
Anybody else have any new business you want to bring up? Any old business?
I just like to make a comment. Is there any way that we can maybe put a bug in somebody's ear and get this thing moving on in response to you? I mean, they're just not getting back to you. Is there a reason for that? Or
I think what
this has been dragging on for quite some time.
Right. But the new attorney for the yacht club just reached out to me today and said he will review the documents that I have sent over and get back to me with comments. So I think he may not be up to speed yet, and I will reach out to him toward the end of the week and see if there are any comments that he has. I don't know if they've even closed the sale yet. And obviously that's not something they would necessarily share with me, but I'll ask them if they have. And if they haven't even closed the sale yet, that would be one reason why it's not moving along.
Why it's not moving.
Yeah. It's nothing on our part. We've provided, and everything that we need to provide, and, you know, we're providing it as a courtesy. We're under no contractual obligation to do anything.
Are we asking them the right questions?
Am I?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what questions would be the right questions, but I mean, with the prior attorney with the yacht club, I've asked him, are you guys gonna close? When are you gonna close? Are there any issues that are preventing the closing? And what he shared with me was that Holdings Group didn't want to close without having a release from the lease. And so we took care of that promptly and sent it along. Now, I don't have a relationship yet with the new attorney. We've exchanged one email apiece, mine sending over the documents for him to review, and him responding that he will review it and get back to me. So that line of communication is open, but we don't have much in the way of communications between us yet.
That's the only communication I have. is
Yeah,
with the
so,
attorney.
you know, probably a busy attorney, I don't want to hit him right away. You know, hey, what are your comments? You know, it's only been a day. So at the end of the week, I think it would be appropriate to reach out to him and say, do you have any comments? And then I'll ask, right, have you guys closed? Are there any issues? The same sort of things that I asked with the yacht club's prior.
Yeah, of course, you should be working through the attorney and not the,
Oh, yeah, I can, yeah.
not the
when-
people that are,
Exactly. When I know a party or an entity is represented by counsel, I'm ethically unable to reach out to the entity or the person.
right. Okay, I'm happy.
Okay. I'll get in touch at the end of the week.
All right, thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Anybody else like to speak? Yes?
Can I just mention one thing, just a point of clarification? We are separate, the Sailing School is a separate entity from the Yacht Club. So at one time, many years ago, we were part of the Yacht Club. We did spin out as a separate 501c3 nonprofit organization, so we do not any longer have any direct connectivity with the Yacht Club, just want to make that clear.
No problem.
Thank you, because I was confused.
Yep. Not a question, actually.
Anybody else have anything?
That was the question.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We're adjourned.
This was the, this county.